Did you hear there was a new Batman movie? Heard anything about that? Can you find a theater that's not showing it? So the Batman 2022, the new Batman movie came out. And I saw the initial trailers long ago, and I thought it did not look good. I'm a little tired of every so many years we get somebody new playing Batman and some tale of how he became Batman. The same thing happens with Superman movies and stuff, and I'm just like, everybody knows. Everybody can look it up on their phone. They can literally watch the previous installments while they're waiting for the new movie to start. We don't need to retell the story. So I went into the Batman, starring Robert Pattinson as Batman, pretty dubious as to what this was going to be like. I'm like, oh, this is going to be another mopey, grungy, Nine Inch Nails looking movie and Nine Inch Nails video looking movie, and enough. I don't expect Batman movies to be the 1966 movie, the TV show or movie. That was its own thing that wasn't really even terribly accurate to the source material anyway, but we all loved it. I don't expect, all that, but I'm tired of just the brooding, mopey Batman. And I really liked this. Now, this is 3 hours. Go in knowing that, if you haven't already seen it. A lot of people went in not knowing it was going to be that long. I went in thinking I wasn't going to like it, which probably helped, and knowing that it was going to be long. So I'm like, okay, here I am, entertain me. And it did. It gave me a Batman that was very believable. This is a Batman movie that feels like it could take place in the real world. There's not overtly ridiculous gadgets. There's not overtly ridiculous vehicles. The villains aren't ridiculous. It all seems very plausible. It does do what I wish movies wouldn't do anymore, which is ever since Batman Returns, it's like, how many villains can we cram in one movie? It's not necessary. One is enough. I always say about superhero movies, it's like, give me 90 minutes and the superhero has to foil a robbery or stop a train. It doesn't need to be the end of the world. We don't need to stack up the villains like cordwood. It's not necessary. You get multiple villains and characters in this movie, but it's really, really well done. And maybe the long running time helps with that. Overtly, the movie is about the Riddler. A version of the Riddler we've never seen before. Paul Dano plays the Riddler, and he's this disgruntled sort of like, he feels like a politically motivated terrorist who's really against the corruption in Gotham City. So he's doing bad things and putting these riddles out there for somebody or Batman to try to solve. He's sort of speaking directly to the Batman often in this, and he's the main villain. The Penguin is present, but he's not the Burgess Meredith or Danny DeVito Penguin. He's just like a thug sidekick to a John Turturro portrayed mob boss. He's just a guy, but they call him that because he's kind of rotund. And he's portrayed by Colin Farrell, the Penguin, and you would never know it's Colin Farrell. It's makeup, and I knew it was going to be a guy in makeup, and I knew it was going to be another British guy doing an American accent, as is Pattinson. And I thought, as is Jeffrey Wright, who plays Commissioner Gordon. And I thought, oh, this is going to be a little rough to sit through, somebody in bad fat suit. It looks like a real person. You would never know the character wasn't the actor, So he's in there, and you do have Catwoman, who is portrayed by Zoe Kravitz, and she's really good. And what she does, again, it isn't totally ridiculous. She's somebody who wears what she wears and has claws and can ride a motorcycle and do martial arts really well and a little parkour. It's not ridiculous. Like I keep saying, this movie feels like it takes place in a real world where gravity applies and things like that. Just a little bit fantastical in some of the schemes people have. The fight scenes are really well done. It's none of this Batman Begins crap where you can't see what's going on. You can fully visually comprehend the fights. They're brutal. They feel like a guy who's well padded and has studied how to take care of himself. The gadgets are simple little aids. It's not like the old, and again, I loved the old Batman TV show, but it's not like I'm trapped in an ice fortress. Good thing I have my anti-ice fortress spray. It's not like that. It's just like weapons and gadgets that kind of help him out. The Batmobile in this is badass. It's like a badass muscle car. It does something during a chase scene in the movie that I have thought about doing at least 1,000 times when I've been on highways driving, and it's nice to see somebody do it. The action is very well conveyed. The drama is really good. At its core, this is Batman being a detective. Batman started as part of Detective Comics. He was supposed to be the world's greatest detective. That's what this movie's about. It is him working with the police because he can do things the police can't legally do, working with Commissioner Gordon to figure out who's committing these murders, figure out why, and try to stop it before the next person gets killed, and to try to figure out who the next person's going to be. And it's interesting. It draws you right in. The drama is really well done. You have Andy Serkis as Alfred. All the known characters are there, and they're played by solid actors. I keep hearing people say it's a very dark movie. It didn't strike me as dark as a lot of movies are. I know I've seen things that were put up for drive-ins and for other places saying, play this movie bright, or warning their audiences, it's a dark movie. You're not going to be able to see some things. When I saw it, it all looked fine to me. I really liked Pattinson as Batman, and I really thought I wouldn't going in. I liked his Bruce Wayne. You don't see a tremendous lot of Bruce Wayne. And yes, he is a little bit of an emo, mopey Bruce Wayne, but tell me Christian Bale wasn't a mopey Bruce Wayne. I like seeing him work out. You get a Batman who's been doing it a while. I think they say, or somewhere I read, he's been the Batman for 2 years or so. So you don't see him figure out the costume. You don't see him figure out this and that. There's a little bit of figuring out, but mostly it's him. He knows what he's doing. That's what I've said for years. Give me a Batman or a Superman or whatever, or a Spider-Man who just knows how to do it. I don't need to see him learning how to do it again. We get that. If you need to give me any recaps, do it under the opening titles. You got plenty of time. So I could ramble on and on. I really, really like the Batman. I really am looking forward to more of these. I really hope that this production team stays together and does several of these. Apparently, they're all kind of in it to win it and are really into Batman and into the idea of it. I know it's been successful, so it does guarantee more. I just really, really hope they do one villain at a time. There's absolutely no need to be stacking the villains in these movies. It just waters it all down, it makes it silly. You end up getting like a Joel Schumacher movie, which were not good. And I don't know. It's just the first time. Honestly, I liked the Burton Batmans when they came out, the first two Batmans with Michael Keaton. And this is the most I've enjoyed a Batman movie while I was watching it in the theater since Batman Returns. I didn't like the Christopher Nolan movies, which I know is heresy and people think I'm crazy, but I just didn't care for them. I didn't like the tone. I didn't like how they were visually executed. I just didn't care for them. So I'm excited now to have a Batman that I like. So it's probably still going to be in theaters for a while. Maybe you watch this and it's on home video or streaming at that point. But I would recommend knowing what you're getting going in. It's going to be long, but I really like the Batman.